Today we are going to learn about the lesson devotional paths to the divine. You may have seen people perform rituals of worship or singing bhajanas, kirtanas or kavalis to even repeating the name of God in silence. Such intense devotion or love of God is the legacy of various kinds of bhakti and Sufi movements. Soon kings and chiefs built large temples for these gods, made land grants, and other gifts to perform various rituals. People belonging to some castes were not allowed to enter the temples. Soon a reaction set in against such rituals and inequalities. New ideas on devotion to God emerged. Philosophy and Bhakti. Shankara, one of the most influential philosophers of India, was born in Kerala in the 8th century. He was an advocate of Advaita or the doctrine of the oneness of the individual soul and the supreme God, which is the ultimate reality. Now, Vishishtadvaita. Ramanuja, born in South India in the 11th century, was deeply influenced by the Alvars. According to him, the best means of attaining salvation was through intense devotion to Vishnu. He propounded the doctrine of Vishishtadvaita or qualified oneness, according to which the soul, even when united with the Supreme God, remained distinct. Basavanna's Veerashaivism. We earlier noted the connection between the Bhakti movement and temple worship. We now see another level of Bhakti movement called Veerashaivism. The ideas about caste and the treatment of women, arguing strongly for the equality of all human beings. Now, the saint of Maharashtra. From the 13th to the 17th centuries, Maharashtra saw a great number of saint poets whose songs in simple Marathi. The most important among them were Jnaneshwar, Namdev, Eknath, and Tukaram, as well as women like Sakubai and the family of Chokamela, who belonged to the untouchable Mahar caste. These saint poets rejected all forms of ritualism. As the famous Gujarati saint Narsi Mehta said, Vaishnavas are those who understand the pain of others. Now, Nadapanthis, Siddhas, and Yogis. Many religious groups of this period criticized the rituals and other aspects of conventional religion and social order using simple logical arguments. Among them were the Nadapanthis, Siddhas, and Yogis. They advocated renunciation of the world. To them, the path to salvation lay in meditation on the formless ultimate reality and the realization of oneness with it. Now, Islam and Sufism. The saint had much in common with the Sufis, so much so that it is believed that they adopted many ideas from each other. Sufis were Muslim mystics. They rejected outward religiosity and emphasized love and devotion to God. At the same time, Muslim scholars developed a holy law called Shariat. Like the saint poets, the Sufis too composed poems expressing their feelings. Among the great Sufis of Central Asia were Ghazali, Rumi, and Sadi. They developed elaborate methods of training using zikr, chanting of name or sacred formula, contemplation, sama, singing, raqs, dancing, discussion of parables, breath control under the guidance of a master or peer. Thus emerged the silsilas, a generalogy of Sufi teachers. A large number of Sufis from Central Asia settled in Hindustan. When several major Sufi centers developed all over the subcontinent, the Chishti Silsila was among the most influential orders. The Sufi masters held their assemblies in their khanqahs or hospices. They discussed spiritual matters, sought the blessings of the saints in solving their wonderly problems.